So let us continue the previous session. So actually for Hive, we have to understand the schema and read and schema and write. There are two styles of approaches for the databases. So see here, schema and write, our regular databases, traditional databases are following this. How we will design the database, how we will design the tables, how we will create the tables. I think you may aware of that. First, we will create the table and then we are entering the data by using create command, create table name of column names and so on. After giving that, after creation of the table, you will enter the data by using insert into table name of that. That is the method of traditional database creation. So that comes under the schema and write, meaning that while writing the data only, we will use the schema. So see here, there is a client in that, and then first the client will create the schema. After creation of the schema, the client will write the data onto the disk through this schema. This may be by using the insert statement. In general, it will be the insert statement or update statement. And if you want to retrieve the data also, that is also possible. First, through the schema, it will retrieve. The data will be retrieved by the client through the schema. This is a schema and write, meaning that while writing the data only, see here, while writing the data only, the schema is involved. That is the schema and write. It is the traditional database systems. And there is another concept. The client is there and the data is also available. Data is ready and there is a client. What he can do is he can create a schema depending upon the data availability, and then he can load the data to the schema, meaning that he can connect the data, available data to the schema. So this is called, that can be by using the load statement. Generally, it can be by using the load statement, or if it is the external table, even you need not load, automatically it will be taken. Okay, so already the data is available. For available data, we will create the schema. But in the traditional databases, first you will create the schema and then you will write the data. But here already data is there. For available data, we will create the schema. And retrieving, how can we retrieve? The retrieving is same. Excuse me. The retrieving is same. Through the schema, you can read the data by the client by writing a query. So this is the schema on read, schema on write, and schema on read. These are the two methods in the database systems available. Now, how to enter into the Hive? Already we have seen that there are several variables available for the Hive concept. So that Hive variable, Hive conf system, whatever you are. Generally, we will not use them for the basic level of learning. So we can create the names also, variable names, and we can create that by using the define and set commands. We can set that. And another important point is shell commands. We can execute the shell commands in the Hive shell. So in this, already if we enter into the Hive, in this, let me change this color. See here. Yeah. Already we have the Hive. In the Hive, if you give the explanatory mark and PWD, it will execute the regular command line execution. Regular command line command will be executed. PWD, it is the general command. Okay, and ls, if you want to execute the ls, simply you can give the explanatory mark and ls. So it will give you the list of all the files in the current directory. So this is how to execute the shell command in the Hive environment. And if you want to execute the HDFS command, HDFS, DFS hyphen ls, HDFS, DFS hyphen put, HDFS, DFS hyphen get, all these commands can be executed without exiting from the Hive. That is by using the DFS command. DFS, simply you can give the DFS -cat, you can give that, so that from the HDFS it will retrieve the data and it will display on the screen. So these are the shell commands in the Hive environment. And then databases. How can we create the databases? Actually, we have the default database available in the Hive. That default database name itself is the default. So we can create a database that is, if you want, you can create the database by using the create database and then database name, so that it will create the database. And if you want to see all the databases available, simply you can give the show databases, so that it will give you the list of all the databases available. Okay, and then use. If you want to use, already you created one database. If you want to use the particular database, then you have to use the command use database name, so that it will, the database will be used. Now, if you give the show tables in current database, what are the tables available, that will be listed in the show tables. Okay, and if you want to delete a database, then you have to use the drop database and then database name. The database will be dropped. So this is how to create and remove the databases. Now, how can we create the table? Create table. Already we have seen one example when we are discussing about the delimiters. So how can we create the table is create temporary or external. We can mention that temporary or external. Okay, I think I can change the color. Yeah, see here. So create temporary or external. Temporary means managed table. It is also called the managed table or internal table, and external table. External table. Okay, what is the internal? What is the external? What is the manageable and external table, that we will discuss in the coming session. Okay, okay. Now table, if not exists, this is also optional. I think you know the syntax rules. If it is in the square bracket, it is optional. Okay, and then database name, if you want, you can give the database name, and then table name. You have to mention the table name of inside the round bracket. You have to mention the column name and then data type. If you want, you can give the comment also, and then continue. You can give any number of column names, and then you can give the comment. If you want to give the table comment, you can give the table comment, and then row format. What is that row format you have given? Whether it is the delimited or whether it is the anything else, you can give the row format. Generally, we will use the by default. We will use the row format delimited. Row format delimited will be given. Okay, and stored as, how you want to store the data, that you have to mention clearly. That is the storage format can be mentioned. That is, there are several storage files are there. It may be the text file or sequence file, RC file, ORC file. That is also called the ORC file. And creation, a simple example for creation of the table is, see here, create table if not exists, employee of EID int, name, string, and then salary. Salary, actually, it is not the string. Okay, actually, we can view that as the number. Okay, and then integer, and then destination, that is the destination or designation. You can give that. It is a string again. And then comment, I want to give the employee details, and row format delimited, fields terminated with backslash t, because I'm taking that, I'm assuming that it is the tab separated file, and lines terminated by backslash n. So meaning that the next line, the new line will be taken as the backslash n, stored as the text file. Okay, now how can we create that table for the existing data? We can create that if you are having some different kinds of complex data type. If you have the complex data types involved, then we can create the table in this way. So see here, create employee name string, salary float, subordinates array, and the directions map of string float, and address is struct of street, city, state, zip. Okay, and then row format delimited, and the delimited and fields terminated by this, and collection items terminated by this, and map terminated by this, map elements, map keys are terminated by this, lines terminated by backslash n, and stored as the text file. You can give that. For that, you can give the data set like this. Okay. Now we have to understand the difference between the managed table and external tables. Managed table. The managed table means you can create a table for the existing data, that is okay. But if you drop this table, see here, if you drop the table means schema. If you drop the schema, the data will be also automatically deleted. That is called the managed table. But external table means if you drop table student, the only the schema will be removed from the Hive environment, but original data remains in the HDFS. So that in the external table, the data will not be removed. Okay, in the managed table, the data will be removed. So these are the two different types of files and tables available. So managed table and external table. It is also called the managed table is also called the internal table because it controls the life cycle of their data. And whenever you remove the schema, data will be removed. So how to create the managed tables? Simply you can give the create table. That's it. You need not give external, internal, or anything. By default, it is the managed table. So create table, if not exists, mydb.employees. See here, I am mentioning that clearly in which database I want to create. Manage mydb.employees of name string, and then I can give the comments. Here I am giving the comments: salary, float, subordinates, and then detections, and all these are common. And the comment I can give the comment, and then table properties. If you want to give the table properties, you can mention the table properties also, like when it was created and all these you can give. And location, where the data is available, that you can mention that the location. Okay, if you don't mention the location, then you have to load the data into this. If you mention the location, you need not load the data. So here we are mentioning the location, so you need not load the data separately. Okay, and external table. If you want to create the external table, same thing, only you have to add the external keyword after the create statement. That's it. Okay, so this is about the creation of the table. Now, if you don't mention where is the location, then how can we add the data to the table? Actually, the data is available somewhere and schema is available in Hive environment. So we have to connect these two. How can we connect that? Please remember that the default directory for the Hive tables are warehouse directory. So we can insert the data into the table, meaning that we can connect the data to the table by using the load command. So how can we load that? That is, there are two ways to load the data: from the local file system or from the Hadoop file system. Both are possible. Okay, in both the cases, if you are creating the table and loading the data will be moved to the specified location, otherwise default location, that is the warehouse directory. So load data, the syntax is load data local. If you want to load the data from the local environment, local. In path, you have to mention the path. If you are mentioning the local, then local path you should give. If you don't mention the local, then you have to provide the HDFS path. And then whether you want to overwrite or not, you have to mention that. Generally, we will not do the override. Into which table? Into table name, and then partition. If you have any partitions, in which partition you want to enter all this. And then local, already I told you that local means if the data is available in the local. Now we have the table like this. We have the data like this. Okay. So here for this data, it is available in the HDFS. For this data, if you want to create the table, you can create the table for all these columns and then you can load that by using the load statement. Simply you can give the load statement. And we can continue in the next session. Thank you.